Is Marauders worth playing? Well, that's a question I hope to answer for you in this video, and if you do end up buying Marauders, then on this channel will be plenty of tips, quest guides, gameplays and streams, so subscribe for that juicy content. Marauders is a new looter shooter developed by Small Impact Games and published by Team 17. The basic premise of the game is gear up, enter a raid, get loot, get kills and get out. But if you die, you lose everything you had on you, including that juicy loot you just gobbled up. So each raid is a risk, but can grant you with great rewards in new equipment and cash. And extraction, looter shooters, these types of games provide really high highs when you have a really good raid, you get loads of kills, you complete some quests and you get loads of cool loot. But they also provide those crushing lows when you die and you lose all that epic loot you just found. In my opinion, this provides a much more engaging gameplay loop instead of just playing a game of Battlefield or Call of Duty where you jump in for a round or two, you win or you lose, you gain some XP, and that's pretty much it. With Marauders and other extraction looter shooters, you see your stash of equipment growing and the cash you have grow as well. Marauders can be played as a solo or in a crew of up to 4 players. After you've geared up, each raid will start in a randomly selected map and you will start on your ship. Now you always have this standard rust bucket ship, but you can steal other players' ships or AI ships or even craft greater ships. And since you're going to be playing against other players and there are AI as well, there are other ships around with you. So yes, you do have guns on your ship to engage the enemy with. You can also replace the main gun on your ship with other types of weapons like torpedoes, a flat gun or rocket pods. And if you do take enough damage, your ship will become disabled, it won't blow up, and then you can use a fire extinguisher on the ship's engine to repair it. I'm not sure why that works, it just works. But if you feel like escaping your ship, each ship comes with an infinite amount of escape pods. And now you can actually use these escape pods to just escape from the raid completely, or you can use them to breach into enemy or AI ships. And that's how you end up stealing other ships, by breaching them. There are also some larger AI ships that cannot be stolen, but are much bigger and have lots of juicy loot. That also means that your ship can get breached by enemy players as well, so whoever's piloting that ship will get a notification that you've been breached. You will also, of course, hear the breach slamming through your hull, so get ready to defend your ship because you don't want to lose it, and well, you don't want to die because then you lose your loot. But I would say the main focus of Marauders are the central space stations in each map. Now there are 5 different stations. There's an asteroid mine, a terraformer, a sort of generic space station where people will live, a navy shipyard and a penal colony. But there's also one map with no station on it, which is mainly built for PvP. If you end up on a map that you don't want to do, you can just exit, head for one of these exit portal thingies and just start a new raid. But in these space stations, amongst all the other players that will be heading there, you're going to find plenty of AI enemies to kill, plenty of loot. This is where a lot of the quest locations are going to be. And yeah, this is really where you will be spending most of your time. When you are fighting and questing and looting throughout the space stations, you need to keep on your toes, keep your head on a swivel, because AI do keep respawning. Now these AI that respawn generally don't have a lot of good equipment, but it's just to keep you on your toes. But on the stations, yeah, lots of loot, and there's high value loot as well in locked areas or in vaults, which you need a blowtorch to get into. And these vaults do contain some really awesome equipment and high value items to sell. But if you're going to be spending most of your time on foot in these stations or on enemy ships or on your own ship trying to fight people, how is the on foot gameplay? Well, it feels like a traditional shooter. Character movement has some weight to it, but it is responsive and kind of snappy. You can run, sprint, jump, vault over chest high walls, crouch, lean, but there's no proning. And the gunplay, yeah, again, it feels quite traditional, but with more recoil than what I'd say traditional shooters have. Time to kill can be pretty quick, especially with headshots, and if you're playing the game, go for those headshots. And with the game being an extraction looter shooter, it's going to be compared to Escape from Tarkov a lot, so let's quickly get into those comparisons. Now, in Escape from Tarkov, when you're managing your weapons, you have to reload each magazine in, and you've got to make sure each magazine has ammo in it. But in Marauders, if your weapon uses 9mm ammo, you just take 9mm ammo and put that into your inventory. If your weapon uses 10mm ammo, you just put 10mm ammo in your inventory. And the reloading system works like traditional shooter does. You have a pool of ammo and it just stocks up whatever ammo you have in your gun from your total ammo in your inventory. So yeah, less stuff to worry about. And healing, again, in Escape from Tarkov, you will get certain status effects like bleeding, fractures, heavy bleeding, and you need to use certain items to stop those status effects so you can fully heal up. But in Marauders, you have a total health bar and that's it. Don't need to worry about any other status effects you might get. If you take damage, it's just damage, and you can use any healing item to heal yourself. Just different healing items will provide different amounts of healing. And also there's no limb damage, so it is just this total health bar you have. But you do have a stamina bar as well, which drains when you sprint and jump and ADS. And to recover stamina, you just eat food or drink. But eating and drinking does restore a little bit of health as well. So again, comparing it to Tarkov, it's been simplified and it's a lot easier just to pick up and play with. What's also been simplified comparing it to Tarkov is weapon ammo and attachments. In Tarkov, let's take 9mm for example, you will have a number of different types of 9mm ammo, but in Marauders, it's just one type of 9mm ammo. So again, you don't have to know what each of these different types of 9mm ammo would do. It's just here's some ammo and that's it. And the same with attachments. We'll take an MP40 for example. An MP40 can have a stock and a suppressor, but there's only one type of stock and one suppressor that'll fit. Again, Tarkov has a number of different stocks and suppressors, so it's simplified again, or streamlined you could say. I'm not saying Tarkov's bad. I love the gun customization in Tarkov, and that could be a game in itself to be honest, but with Marauders it is just simpler and more streamlined. By now, with the gameplay you've seen, you've probably recognized a lot of World War II era weapons like an MP40, Thompson, SVT-40, M1 carbine and more. Also there's some post-World War II weapons like an M16, MAP-49 and again more. There's a ton of weapons in the game, and I do expect more weapons to be added down the line in early access. Once you've finished your battling throughout a space station or enemy ship and you've done some quests or got some good loot and you want to extract, once you do extract, you can then hand in your contracts, get some more loot, get some more cash, and you can get into the crafting system. And the crafting system is pretty simple. You have your recipes, you need certain resources to craft these items like junk scrap, synthetic scrap or metal scrap. Click on the item, click craft, there's a waiting time, and then you'll get it. You can unlock new recipes by just selecting a recipe you want to unlock. Make sure you match the requirements, which is usually a level amount, certain amount of cash, and skill points, which you get skill points by leveling up. And you do really need to get involved with the crafting system. Again, it's really simple to craft stuff, but there's some really key items in there, such as medical, guns, attachments. You can craft ammo, craft new ships, craft new weapons for your ships, and craft containers, which will essentially boost the stash size that you have. There is a prestige system as well. I don't know what level you need to be to get a prestige token. I'm guessing it's 100, but the rewards for prestiging is being able to permanently increase your stash size, so it's probably well worth doing it. So graphically, I would say Marauders looks good. I don't think it's going to blow anyone away. Some of the environments and lighting do look pretty good, but there's also some areas of the game that could probably do with some extra work, and I think some of the guns could be made to look a bit better. The most impressive thing about Marauders though is probably the space sections, because the skybox in these space sections can look damn impressive. The red one is my favorite. Also, the reload animations, I mean, they work. You know, it reloads the gun. There's nothing wrong with the animation. It pulls the magazine out and puts it back in, but they kind of look pretty basic. I would like to see these improved. And onto how Marauders sounds. In space, it's cool. The sounds are kind of muted. It's kind of like a Battlestar Galactica vibe. And in the space stations, you do get some ambient audio, which is pretty accurate as to what area you are in. The footsteps are good. They are clear and easy to hear. Sometimes though, when someone is above or below you, it can be kind of difficult to pinpoint it until they are pretty close to you. But there's also some cool voice lines in the game mapped to your F1 to F8 key. If you tap one of the buttons, it whispers a voice line. If you double tap it, it will shout it out. And when you're playing in groups, it's pretty key using these voice lines just to locate your friends in case you get separated. But also the weapons can sound pretty weak. This is another aspect of the game I hope they improve throughout early access, along with adding new weapons and new content. But for early access release, it has plenty of content to get you through it and to have a great time. And Marauders, it has a very satisfying gameplay loop. It's always good to get into a raid, kill some players, get extra loot, get extra cash, and when you have those bad times when you're going on a little bit of a death streak, you see your money going down, you see your equipment going down, when you bounce back and get more cash, get more loot, it just feels so good and it keeps you coming back to the game. I highly recommend Marauders, and I think it's one of these games that is going to greatly improve through early access. But even at the launch of early access, it's a really good game. Now if you do end up buying it, on my channel I am going to have loads of tips, quest guides, gameplay and streams where I will want to team up with you guys to wreck some people and get some good loot. So if that interests you, please subscribe, and if you like the video, please give it a like. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you on the next one.